What's up YouTube? John, JDS Outdoors. In today's video we're working on the Honda. This is a 2018 Honda Rancher 420. Now initially I was going to do this video in one with a couple upgrades to this, but after I purchased this part, which I'll get to in a minute, and did some research on how to install it, I found a need for this video. And what we're doing is installing a pull start. It's part number 08U70-HR3-A40 pull start. Now finding this pull start was difficult in itself. Everything you look up online, it only goes up to 2014, and the engines and body panels and everything looks the same from the 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s, and 18s. So the Honda dealership said this would work, so we're going to try it. Well, anyways, I went ahead and opened up the box, and what came with it was this piece that goes on the back of the engine that engages the pull starter when you pull it. Came with a seal, a little O-ring. This is I'm having a brain fart on the exact terminology, but a capacitor of some sort. So when you pull the pull starter, it sends an electronic signal to the injector to put fuel in the cylinder so it'll start. A couple bolts and this awesome set of instructions that aren't really instructions. And I looked up that link online, and all it is for more accessories. There is no instructions. So that brought me to YouTube, trying to look and see if there's any videos of how to install this, and there isn't. So I'm going to make one. Enough mumbling. I went ahead and tore the four-wheeler apart, trying to find out where everything goes. And here is what I found out so far. So it's pretty obvious that on the back of the motor here, there's this little plate, and that's got to come off, and that's where your pull starter goes onto. There's a hole in the plastic right here for your pull starter handle to come out. That's pretty obvious. My question is where does that little capacitor piece go? So that's why I tore the whole side of this four-wheeler off, and I'm going to save you some time and show you where it goes. Underneath the back little storage hatch here, right by your fuse panel, if you pull this out and you look, right here is a plug that has nothing plugged into it, and that's where that capacitor plugs into. And if we go down deeper, right there in front of my finger, there's a hole with a little tab that sticks up that the tab of the capacitor slides into, with enough wire for that to plug in. So you don't have to go and tear the whole side of your four-wheeler apart trying to find it. It plugs in right there. All you have to do is get access to the back of your engine, which I pulled the air box out, so you can bolt the pull starter in down there. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking that little panel off of the back and installing these pieces. From my understanding, this seal goes over that and pressed into the case of the engine. And this side sticks out. This little O-ring goes around the bolt that goes through here to hold this in place. Just like that. And then obviously these four bolts hold the four bolts of your pull starter on. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and remove the back panel and show you what that looks like, so we can go ahead and get this installed and then install the pull starter itself. We're going to start off using a 10mm socket and break the bolts on this back case here. After you break them free, should be able to just get them with your fingers. Then using a screwdriver with some slight pressure, go ahead and pop that cover off. Using a clean rag, we're going to go ahead and wipe away any excess oil that's in there. Away from that bolt. So using a 17mm socket on an impact, we're going to go ahead and remove that bolt. So if we look closely at the back of, I don't know the technical term, of this piece that goes into the engine and this bolt that we just removed, if you notice, there's a little groove and they're shaped the same. So that's a good sign, at least, that this will work. So next step, we're going to go ahead and take this seal and going to go install it in the back of the engine. We're going to take a clean rag and wipe any debris away and go ahead and install this. Now, you have to use an impact on that or find a way to keep the engine from turning over, because this bolt, when you're turning it, if you use just a regular wrench, it won't work. It just turns the engine over. So we're going to have to use that same technique to install the new bolt with an impact, but very carefully so we don't damage anything. So the impact's on pretty low power. You don't want to use some big old honking son of a gun to install that. So onwards with the next step. We'll go ahead and take a clean rag, brand new, and clean our surface for the seal. And install our seal in the back of the engine. I'm going to use a very small hammer with some very light taps. And your seal is set as soon as it's just recessed below this little lip right here. Now be very careful when you're doing this so you don't damage those little pink dots or all grease. Now we're going to go ahead and install this piece here, slowly turning it so you can feel it engage the engine just like that. With our rubber O-ring installed on the bolt, we're going to go ahead and install that next. A low speed 17mm socket. Install the bolt. Now, spinning this, I can feel it's definitely engaging the engine. So that's good. Go through the back. Alright, I see a problem. So before you install this, there's a bolt right here holding on part of the wire harness. Let's go ahead and remove that. Well, now that that's removed, this should hopefully fit a little better. Perfect. Now, using the force applied 10mm bolts. Go ahead and install the pull starter. Now keep in mind this is just an aluminum case, so don't over torque your bolts. And also don't forget to reinstall this little clip for the wire harness. So now that we got that installed, time to move up top. So now all that's left is to install this little capacitor thing or whatever it's called down in that little slot. Nice tucked out of the way. Fits pretty snug in there, so that's got to be where it goes. And plug her in. Clipped in nice. Let's go ahead and shove all the wiring back down in and clip our fuse block back in place. And give her a test fire, see if it works. Hopefully it starts. I do have one of the sensors that goes into the air box unplugged, so if it doesn't start, we'll just blame that for now. Full starter works. Awesome. Let me go ahead and get the four-wheeler put back together. Well, there we have it. All put back together in a good working order. If the battery ever goes dead, turn the key on, reach in, give her a good pull, and fires right up. It was worth every penny of the $120 it cost to buy it. So, highly recommend. Cheap kit. You saw the part number right off the bat. So that's going to end this video for this portion of the upgrade. If you want to see what else is getting upgraded on it, feel free to check in, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching JDS Outdoors. See you later.